All right, guys. Bivol versus Beterbiev. The rematch is in the books. Just got done with the live stream. We had it live on Instagram. We had it live on Twitter. We had it live on Twitch. And of course, here on YouTube as well. I'm in a little bit different setup. This may look different. I sold my gaming desk in my main room, so bear with me. I'm in the living room. This looks a little crazy, a little cluttered, but I'm working on a new gaming desk that I'm getting right now. But Bivol versus Beterbiev just wrapped up. And first off, I just want to say, shout out. I know a lot of people want to be controversial and try to hate because we've never seen a figure like this in boxing. Shout out to Turki Al-Ashik. I don't care what nobody got to say. Boxing, as somebody who is, I know a lot of people don't like to admit that they like both or they like to, pick sides and be territorial. Like, I am strictly a boxing fan or I am strictly an MMA fan. I'm a fan of both pretty much evenly. I've been a boxing fan my whole life. I became a UFC fan like around like high school. So boxing is my first true love. But UFC was cooking. But ever since Turki Al-Ashik got involved in boxing, the excitement level for boxing for me has been levels above UFC since 2023 when Turki Al-Ashik really started to make waves in the boxing game. There's a UFC card actually going on right now, and I couldn't care less. I think it's more quality over quantity, which is why I've been liking boxing more and enjoying following the storylines and the potential matchups. We're getting more big time matchups in boxing than ever, essentially. More big time cards with multiple exciting fights instead of just one on the top of the bill. And tonight was an example of that, even though it didn't fully follow through. With some pullouts and some replacement opponents. I thought that the Joseph Parker Bacoli fight was a bit of a non-event. And kind of the same thing for the Shakur fight. He kind of just beat up on him for the whole fight and then stopped him. He had some moments, but I think the announcers a little kind of overplayed it a little bit. Gave him, of course, you come in on short notice, you get a lot of credit, but after Shakur stopped him, the only thing they're saying is the bravery. Oh my goodness, to come in. The crowd respects him so much. Give it up for. Oh, I'm like, bro, can you recognize that Shakur is the one that just beat his ass? Like, let's properly give credit where credit is due. It wasn't the most exciting fight. Shakur probably won every round, and he stopped him. So I thought that that was just a little bit of a funny moment, like how much they were trying to, hammer home how much of a moral victory that he just had. I was like, all right, man, y'all got it. Zhang, Big Bang Zhang, No Diddy, Mr. No Diddy got stopped. I'll be interested to watch. I didn't catch that. I didn't catch all of that one live, so I'll have to watch that one back. But I picked it up at the Shakur fight and watched on from there. So yeah, those two fights at the beginning were a bit of a non-event, but then we got to the main event, Bivol versus Beterbiev, and this fight started out pretty much like the first one. I thought, with Bivol, looking faster, looking slicker with slick combinations, but it was a little bit more short-lived than even the first fight because I thought I gave Bivol the first two. And I know 3 is a little bit of a toss-up in terms of some of the different cards that I've seen. I've seen some people leaning towards 3. But I thought Beterbiev took over in the third round and kind of handled the fight from the third all the way until the 6th or 7th. And actually, it was so dominant that I thought that this was round 4 through 6 for Beterbiev were the most dominant moments that we've seen in this 2-fight series. Like there were actually moments where I thought that he was like completely out styling on Bivol. It looked like he could stop him. Walking forward and Bivol's, return punches have no effect on him, just walking him down with no resorts, where like making it look like Bivol's not even on his level. I thought those middle rounds of Beterbiev were the most dominant rounds that we've seen between these two guys. And ironically, even with those most dominant rounds, Bivol is still able to, pull off the decision. And I thought it was fair for Bivol to win. Like I said, I gave Bivol 1 and 2. Beterbiev, like I said, 4, 5, 6 were the most dominant rounds. Like he was cooking. looking like he could stop him. People on Twitter were saying Bivol's getting cooked, Bivol's done. Like, it was bad. 3 and 7 were kind of buffer rounds in between that takeover. But honestly, I gave him 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. On first watch, I thought he won all of those. I thought he banked 5 in a row. But 3 and 7 are debatable. But then after that, I had Bivol taking over again. It seemed like Beterbiev either got tired or got kind of, didn't want to blow his wad, didn't want to, get too high and wanted to keep his composure, I guess. But he was still walking forward. Of course, we know that that's always going to be his style, the destroyer, just walking forward, the Terminator. But he's not really throwing punches. He's kind of just walking forward and letting Bivol kind of tee off on him. And still in those moments, Bivol's punches didn't seem to have a huge effect on him. I thought Bivol's 8th round was maybe his best round of the fight. He did very well in that 8th round, landed some good shots. But like I said, Beterbiev never really looked like, even when Bivol would return, he was truly hurt or phased by these punches. So it just makes you curious to, in those moments where he's walking forward, Bivol's throwing back and the punches aren't really affecting him, why is he not, continuing to unload the volume on him? Of course, we know he is 40 years old. He is human. He can't just throw punches nonstop for 12 rounds. But I think that was a bit of a strategic error for him to take his foot off the gas a little bit from 8, 9, and 10, and 11 as well. I gave Bivol 8, 9, 10, and 11, and I ended up giving Beterbiev 12. I thought that Beterbiev did, respond strong to Bivol's second wind and come back strong in that 12th round. But I don't think it was enough. But on the scorecards, like my initial watch, like if I'm scoring it round by round, I did have it 6-6. But just objectively watching the fight, what I said is there should be 2 different scorecards. It could be 114, 114, or 115, 113 for Bivol are the only 2 acceptable scorecards. Beterbiev did not win this fight. To me, Beterbiev did not win this fight. It could have been a draw or it could have been Bivol. It ended up going that way for Bivol, and I think that the right guy won the fight. Deserving. I think it was we had 116, 112 scorecard, which I think is a little bit out there. But like I said, the round 4, round 7, and round 10, I thought were the most toss-up rounds in the fight. And if you throw either one of those in the opposite way, then that could bring you to 116, 112. So I don't think that's an egregiously crazy scorecard. Like, some of these fights will get like 115, 113, 114, 114, and then we'll just get like a 118 something out of nowhere. We didn't have a scorecard like that. I thought even 116, 112, even as it been, a little bit of an outlier as opposed to what most people scored it, I don't think it was a crazy scorecard to put it 116, 112 for Bivol. But yeah, he wins the majority decision, evens the trilogy that we're going to have soon, hopefully, to 1-1, and we're going into the trilogy now. This is the time of the trilogy, man. We're getting so many trilogies these days. And, honestly, at this current moment, even though Beterbiev, like I said, those middle rounds were the most dominant rounds of this entire, matchup of these 2 guys. But it's hard for me not to lean towards Bivol if they go to a third fight, just because Beterbiev is 40 years old, man. At some point, it's got to go downhill. We know bigger guys age later, but this ain't heavyweight. This is 175. He's not a heavyweight. Some of these heavyweights can fight into their 40s, George Foreman style. And, the bigger guys are not as, tit for tat skilled as the smaller guys. So you're able to, age a little bit later in the heavyweight. But he's still in a, prime weight class. So 40 years old is really incredible to even see him do what he is doing, even if he lost today at 40 years old. Holy shit, it's incredible. Bivol's only 34, 6 years younger. And he's going down to the wire against this 40-year-old man. Just speaks to, what Beterbiev really is. And he didn't have his signature long socks on today. That might have been why he lost. I said, what is Beterbiev doing? Where the socks at? He usually got those long johns up to his knees, but today he came out with some with some regular drip. I said, "What Beterbiev doing?" I'm sitting on Twitter right now. Shakur Stevenson may have hurt his left hand again. Jesus, man. Are you kidding me? Oh, interesting enough. Remember what I said in those middle rounds? In those middle rounds, it was getting so bad for Bivol. Like I didn't love the commentary team tonight, but it was getting so bad for Beterbiev dominating. They started to say that Bivol might have been injured. That's how dominant he was in those middle rounds. He had a huge round 4, cooking in round 5, cooking in round 6, and I thought also round 7. But round 7 is a toss-up for most people. I think a lot of people gave that to Bivol. But, yeah, if you gave either Bivol 3 or 7, like I said, I got to watch it back. But I could see Bivol taking either 3 or 7, and then that would put him ahead for that 115, 114 scorecard, and I have no problem with that. Or no, wait. Yeah, I have no problem with that. 115, 113, I'm sorry. But, yeah, undisputed light heavyweight champion, Bivol. We go into a trilogy. David Benavidez, you're going to have to wait. I'm sorry. It will be interesting to see Benavidez get into the mix of this because by the time this trilogy is over, Beterbiev will probably be 41 years old. Bivol will probably be 35, 36 years old by the time they're ready to fight Benavidez. So that just, further shifts in his advantage, being the younger guy than both. Wait, how old is Benavidez? Because by the time they get done with this trilogy, it'll probably be another year or two before we see them in there with Benavidez. And Benavidez is... Sorry, guys, I got a bit of a crazy setup. Yeah, Benavidez is a year older than me. Benavidez is 28. So even him, he has 6 years, the same age gap that Beterbiev has on Bivol. Bivol has that on Benavidez. Yeah, Tom is his best friend, man. The future is looking very bright for Benavidez in the 175-pound division. Even if you don't see him winning this right now, these guys are both aging out. The end of your prime years is usually around 34, 35. Like I said, Beterbiev is going against that and, proving that it can be proved wrong in very special guys. But usually your prime is going to be from about 26, 27 until about 33, 34, and then you kind of start falling off a cliff, as we've seen, especially in MMA with a lot of these champions losing right around that 34, 35 age mark. So, I don't know. I don't think I've seen enough from Benavidez where I would pick him against either one of these guys right now. But like I said, he's only 28 years old. He's just now coming into his prime where these guys are both exiting. Beterbiev, age-wise, should have left his prime. And Bivol will be soon exiting his prime as he enters that 35, 36-year-old range. Very interesting stuff at this 175-pound division. But we'll probably push off that Benavidez matchup for a little bit, but I'm very excited about this weight class. Very excited about this fight. Let me know what you guys thought about the fight. Let me know if you thought, you agree with my breakdown, you agree with the decision, and who you think is going to take that third fight. Benavidez versus Bivol. Very interesting stuff. And I'm excited for the future. Boxing is cooking. Riyadh season continues.